Hi guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with the Fasting Senna commentary guide as promised. So in case you guys don't know what that is, basically you're playing Senna in the AD carry position with a traditional support. In this case it's a Leona, but instead of taking the farm, you let your support take the farm. Now of course we're going to start off by leashing our Graves, but the reason for Fasting Senna is basically even if you want to play Senna in the AD carry position, it's always better to give your support the farm, just because for Senna it is always better to stack souls rather than stack gold. With this strategy, you could say, you and your support will have relatively even gold majority of the time, and sometimes your support will have slightly more gold than you. But I've tested, Senna with just taking all the CS, taking all the minions, and it's definitely not as good as this. And also, I've also tested Fasting Senna with a full damage build like Manamune and Dustblade kind of build, and also with the tanky utility build like the Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet into Rapid Fire Cannon, and Iceborne Gauntlet, and the more Reminder build. And by and large, the tanky utility build is way better than the damage build. It's true that with the damage build you do more damage, however, the utility build is just so much better because your damage mainly comes from your souls anyway, and it doesn't actually come from your items as much as your souls. So of course if your support dies, or if your support isn't in lane, of course you can still take the farm, although I would recommend to let the cannon minion die to the tower so you can get the soul from the cannon. So here, of course, I'm just going to have to stay safe on the tower. Kaisa obviously wants to be aggressive. I managed to hit my W on her for the root 2 tower shots and an auto later. We do pick up a kill on the over-aggressive Kaisa. Also, it's really weird how they have a Kaisa Tristana bot lane. Obviously, they have double AD carry instead of support. Probably some kind of miscommunication happening in the enemy team. No one really wanted to play support. Here, notice how I'm using my E when I walk forward to ward. Now, the reason for this is when you are in your E state, you can't actually be targeted. So, if Tristana wants to put her E onto me, she can't do that unless I break my E by auto-attacking her or doing something like that. If not, targeted abilities like Tristana's E cannot be put onto you, which is actually a really underrated use of her E. So I'm pretty much just guaranteeing that I'm safe there because her damage in the early game is all from her E. Her autos don't really do too much. So as you guys can see, Leona's just going to be farming up. Here Graves actually comes in for a gank before we were even ready. We weren't ready to follow up at all, so it doesn't really go too well. But of course I'm just going to be stacking up my souls from the enemy champions as well, which is why I'm just attacking them anyways. It's not really for actually doing damage. It's more for the souls. And also of course the poke is really good as well. So here, something I'd like to point out is that Fasting Senna is better with a tanky support like Leona. It's not as good with enchanters like, let's say, Nami, because generally tanks can make better use of the gold to build their tank items to become more tanky, compared to enchanters building more enchanter items is pretty much to buff you, which in this case you kind of want a tank and not really just someone to buff you. So here Pantheon ults in, no idea what he's doing there. I'm gonna take some stacks from him, or I'll take some souls I should say, and as usual just gonna poke, collect the souls whenever possible. Tristana jumps in, we just root her. We're gonna have to flash just in case, but actually she already used her E on the Leona, so probably not necessary. Here I actually out for the shield on the Leona, but I managed to actually auto attack to get the kill onto, I believe it was the Tristana, and Pantheon manages to barely get out with his life. So of course we're just gonna clear out the minion wave and gonna pop their plant. Don't necessarily have to pick up the fruits, but we're just gonna pop their plant and then we're gonna recall. Can get a nice good quality reset, get some items. Leona is really low, so she can refill all her resources, and in the meantime all the minions are dying to the tower before the enemy bot lane makes it back. So we have already picked up our Black Cleaver. We do have a really good start, 2-0-1. Now our team doesn't actually have any sweepers, so you would think that it might be a good idea to get a sweeper, but unless you're playing Senna support. If I play Senna AD carry or Fasting Senna, I normally will not actually change to a sweeper. Reason being is that Senna can use her wards to actually extend her range for her Q. So actually you can ward and then Q through your ward just to hit your Q, because Q has to be targeted. You cannot actually Q use your max range of your Q if you don't have a target in front of you in close proximity to you. So you have to actually sometimes use your ward in order to get that. So here we actually shove the Tristana out of lane because Dragon is up, and obviously we are interested in that. Here Pantheon comes in. I want to rotate, but I see the enemy team trying to rotate, so instead we're going to put a stop to them and we're going to go on them. Really nice Solar Flare by the Leona. Unfortunately, we can't really follow up. Here I'm just going to go for a one-on-one on the Kai'Sa. All of the enemies are low. Graves manages to pick her up with his ultimate, and I almost pick up the kill onto the Tristana, but unfortunately she does get out really low. Seems to be a really unfortunate occurrence throughout the early game, but you know what can you do about it? Tristana actually goes for a pretty I wouldn't really recommend this build, but she actually goes for the Blade of the Rune King first. Now it gives you lifesteal and attack speed, but doesn't really give you any significant damage, so I wouldn't really go for that first. Here I pick up the Ionian boots. Now Senna actually can build every single boots in the game. She can build Ionian boots, she can build the boots of swiftness to prevent slow, she can build the defensive boots, and she can also build the gluttonous greaves. But the gluttonous greaves is the worst choice out of the 5 boot options, just because when you get to late game your souls will be converted into lifesteal, so you don't really need any more lifesteal from your boots. So here ulting for the shield and the damage as well. Pantheon actually ults on the spot, so we actually do pick up the kill on the Pantheon and the double onto the Yasuo. We managed to get the root onto the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa flashes, but honestly that's just a wasted flash because we already have her rooted. Riven actually comes in, so I'm going to have to just keep my distance and blast at her like so. Of course, picking up all the souls from the deaths of all the enemies. Every enemy death just does give a soul as well, and you know, dragon deaths gives 2 souls, so we're going to have to go for the dragon now. Of course, healing the Shyvana with our Q to make sure she doesn't die to the dragon. So here, dragon picked up, and we pick up the 2 souls from the dragon. Starting to stack really nicely. Here Tristana is a little bit overextended, but she of course does have a rocket jump to get out. So here Leona actually manages to stop the wave, half of the wave I should say. Here I have to take honey fruit from mana, so I'm going to stand in the middle so I can catch the souls from both where Leona is and also from where the minion wave is attacking enemy minion wave. Another 3 souls collected. Really nice stacking going on. So as you guys can see, fasting Senna stacks just as fast as support Senna, mainly because in both roles you're not actually CSing. The only difference is that having an AD carry with you versus having a tank support with you. Of course, having a tank support is always better. Here Riven comes in with her knockup and her stun. That's all her CCU, so she's not too much of a threat anymore. Solar Flare goes a little bit wide, but does get the slow. Here Yasuo gets the our Yasuo gets a knockup on the enemy Yasuo, so of course this is normals. So we have a Yasuo mirror match. Riven actually comes in, but she's not going to be able to do too much. I get the root off onto the Pantheon and get, you know, even more soul stacks. In Senna in the early game, like the first 10 minutes or so, you don't necessarily have to always go for kills. It's more important to stack your souls. So if you can get soul stacks by stacking on the enemies, just go for it. I have actually I'm actually 406 with 4 kills at the moment, but this isn't exactly a regular occurrence. You know, it just happened that I got pretty lucky and got some kills in the early game, but generally Senna, you just want to stack your souls. Of course, if you get kills, it's even better. You can build your items faster, but it's most important to stack your souls. So that you scale really well into late game. You really spike every 20 souls starting from 40 onwards, especially when you hit 60, 80, and 100. You're going to feel the great increase in power. Of course, we don't want to tussle with the Yasuo here. I'm just going to you know, grab souls from him, grab grass procs from him, and I'm going to pop the plan just because there's no one else who's going to use it, so I'm just going to get myself back to full health. And then I'm going to rotate back down to bot. Checking for vision along the way. No enemy vision in the river, at least it appears so. I'm gonna put down some vision in the river because we don't have our tier 1 tower, so it's a little bit dangerous. So it does manage to spot out the Kai'Sa, so already it has given us value. Here I out both the Yasuo for the shield as well as the Leona and Graves for the shield as well. So really good value out there. Of course, probably they didn't need the assist there, but they don't actually pick up the Riven, so nothing too much comes of it. Here, of course, collecting more souls from the Tristana. Zenith Blade goes wide, but Solar Flare hits. Huge Solar Flare for the engage, and we pick up 3 quick kills. Pantheon comes a little bit too late just to watch his allies die. Nothing he can really do there except give me another grass proc. And here we're gonna set down the Rift Herald for the push down mid. So this basically guarantees the mid tower. There we go. And we're gonna see if we can get off another charge onto the second tower. So we're just gonna quickly use all our skills to clear the minion wave, and we do get off another charge. That's probably good enough. Pantheon comes in, so I'm gonna E my way out of there. I'm gonna go back to see if I can save Leona, but Leona, you know, she gets bursted way too fast, and I have to flash over the wall just to keep myself safe as well, to prevent, you know, giving the enemies any more kills than they need. As you guys can see, we're almost at 60 souls at this point in time. We complete our frozen mallet, and in this match, for your boot enchantment, honestly, I find that stasis is really not very useful on Senna. The moment enemies get onto you, you're basically dead. Now, I do say that for a couple of AD carries as well, like Lucian, for example, but Senna is really, in my opinion, the worst AD carry when it comes to taking stasis. Of course, if there are multiple assassins on the enemy team, you still can and should probably do that, but if there isn't, like in this game, there isn't really any enemy assassin. Of course, Riven and Tristana can jump onto me here, in the game I mean, but honestly, it's a lot more value to take Locket or Redemption just to give your team more value. So I am going to be going for Locket this game. Riven on the chase. I try to root her up to prevent her from chasing, but Kai'Sa flashes forward. Riven is very, very mobile, and unfortunately I do get shut down. That didn't really go the best, but Yasuo gonna clean up, possibly? Nope, he is not. He falls as well. Meanwhile, Leona getting off a solid split push. Not really the best move there, but you know, at least we might get something in return. At least a couple of plates onto Leona, who of course does do well with gold as well. So it's not the worst trade-off in the world. And here's a look at the items. Item state, I have picked up my Locket, so Leona should go for a Redemption instead, so that we don't double stack Locket, which will lower the value from the Locket itself. So Leona probably should go for a Redemption, and Kai'Sa here is trying to stop the Leona push, but Leona just ignoring the Kai'Sa, just picks up the entire tower. So here, of course, the entire enemy team is going to be responding, so me and Shyvana, we're going to have to come over to help out. Amazing Solar Flare yet again. My W goes wide, but we do pick up the kill onto Yasuo. And we do chase for the Kai'Sa. There we go, double kill for the Yasuo onto the Kai'Sa. Riven comes in for a 3v1. I'm gonna flash out just to prevent taking all that damage. Pantheon ults in to join the fight, so that's where I think it's not really too good of an idea to fight. But I'm gonna ult to save the Shyvana from damage. Look at the huge shield I gave Shyvana. Shield pretty much blocks her from all the damage, and Riven, who went in on her, is gonna get blasted by me because now I'm at pretty long range. I'm at 60 plus stacks already, so I'm gonna be able to fire from relatively far away. Here, of course, gonna recall, get a nice reset, get some items, and of course with Senna, you always just want to play in the back line, just want to stand far away. Here at 73 stacks, coming close to 80, so you always just want to stand far back and just of course, just free fire at the enemy. Don't let anyone get onto you. Here, our team is going possibly for a fight in the mid lane, so I'm going to activate my E just to mask everybody's identity. Her E is also really good for that. Of course, picking up the souls. Nice soul flare again, and nice redemption as well. I also popped my Locket for that, so we use all of our team fighting spells here. So here, a lot of souls on the ground. Just going to pick up what I can. Of course, I do miss one there. We do pick up the tower. And I E again, getting off the root onto the Kai'Sa. Look at my range. Boom. Kai'Sa has to flash out. And I try to snipe the Kai'Sa, but she lives on 1 HP as she gets to the base. I did actually hit Kai'Sa, but unfortunately it didn't kill. So here, Pantheon ults right onto my root, and we kill off the 1 HP tower. There is also an argument for taking like heal instead of barrier, just because as I said, when enemies get onto you, you pretty much don't live anyway, at least in the later stages of the game. But my barrier is mainly for early game, because early game, almost unavoidably, you will get into skirmishes in the laning phase, so it sort of will help you a lot to get barrier in the laning phase, just to protect yourself against some of the damage in the laning phase. It has it can make a difference, and it has in a lot of my matches, which is why I take barrier when I go for fasting Senna. If I play support Senna, I'll normally take heal or exhaust. So here we're just gonna get ourselves the rapid fire cannon, and of course restore our health and mana. And whenever your ult is off cooldown, like now, you should always be paying attention to see if your team needs the ult. Here, boom, I give my team the ult for the shield and against the Riven. Riven, unfortunately, very slippery of a character to try to kill, so they don't actually manage to chase her down. So here, I don't think that the team is going for the fight, so I'm just farming the mid wave, getting ourselves mid parity, but the team actually does go for the fight with a very nice solar flare yet again by Leona. So here I'm of course coming to the fight with my E trying to mask up my allies here, get off a kill, and I'm going to chase a little bit for the Kai'Sa. Look at how much damage I'm doing with my range. Unfortunately I have to back off because the Tristana shows up, and you know I can't tank all of that damage by myself, especially if the Tristana manages to fully charge her E onto me, so I just have to back off, and instead my team's just going to pick up the dragon, and honestly at this point my team has accrued a really large goal lead, as you guys can see. So we have double dragon. Enemy team did manage to pick up the ocean dragon, or rather steal the ocean dragon I should say. So here we're at 92 stacks, closing in on 100 where we'll hit our next major power spike. We are also building towards the Iceborne Gauntlet. I keep getting confused between Frozen Mallet and Iceborne Gauntlet. They're both like ice related, I guess you could say. So yeah, Leona has also gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet, which does actually give a ton, get a really large area after all her armor. After the entire enemy team is pretty much just all AD. So here I actually flash in to join the fight. Now I normally don't recommend doing that because normally a flash is reserved for escaping, but in this case it's very clear that my team has the fight won and they just need the lockdown from my W. So I flash in to W the enemies to get off the route so that my team can actually just clean up the fight while they're held in place by my W. So here we're just gonna push in. Look, this is just showcasing my amazing range. I'm just gonna like auto attack and kill them from outside of the tower range. So it's really, Senna's poke is disgusting when you hit like high stacks. Like now I'm at 100 plus stacks. I outranged the Nexus tower, so I can actually attack them from outside of the Nexus tower. So here we're gonna pick up the Baron. The enemy team shouldn't even be able to contest just because of how behind they are. If they show up, we can just kill them and we can end the game that way as well. So Pantheon actually does sort of roam around to the general area of the Baron, but Yasuo is there to pretty much zone him away. I'm here as well to try to catch him out. So we complete the Baron and we're gonna turn onto the Pantheon. Pantheon, no real escape for him, so he does fall, and we're gonna push in top while the team is getting into sort of like a skirmish. So we're gonna E here for the speed boost, get the hit onto the tower, and go for the inhibitor, the top inhibitor this time. Riven is getting chased all around the country, so in the meantime we're just gonna pick up the inhibitor, and with that it's a clean ace, and that is the game as well. Right, so with that, thanks for watching the video guys, and I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thanks for watching the video guys, and goodbye.